Cher Lafiani, Ekasan, and greetings. This is Yelosha Apetabi Ola Omi, Oshun Yemi Akala Tunde, and Nubia. Say hi. And coming to you today with two requested videos. So this is the first one. Ashetunwa and Nubia. No, that's not what we're doing, okay? All right. This is the first one. And a sister friend of mine, a good sister friend, who is also living organically, is the name of her channel here on YouTube. But we have been internet friends for I feel like it's been about 3 years, because I feel like it was right when I was expecting Nubia, so it may have been 4 years, because it may have been since before I was expecting Nubia, and she's 3 now. So she asked me to do a video specifically about your daughters as they grow into adolescence, as they move towards adulthood, and how do you handle that in a holistic manner, from the same manner that we're trying to parent all the time. And I actually spoke about it a little bit on my blog talk radio program, Morning Tea with Eolosha, that I do with a sister friend that also lives here in Atlanta. And she was speaking about, she asked me about that because she met myself and my children for the first time last weekend. And she was very impressed. Oh, I hope the cat doesn't knock the camera down. No. She was very impressed with my toddlers. My teenagers are actually in Tennessee participating in the ALAG program, which they do every summer, and that is ALAG, Act Like a Girl. It's an extension of the Actors Bridge Ensemble that is run by my very good friend, Miss Valley Forrester. Shout out to Valley and all the girls. And this is a female teen girl empowerment, acting, journaling, and self-discovery workshop that they do for the month of June every summer, from the time that they're 14, I think, on up until they're 18. So it's something that they've been watching their older sisters do, and something that they now do and participating in. So that's where my teens are. So anyway, long story short, she met my two youngest children. She was impressed, and we were talking just a little bit this morning about parenting and how to do that, and just what perspective you come from. And I think that we find it easier when we're parenting younger children from a perspective of coming from love and coming from allowing them to explore the world. And it becomes a little more difficult the older they get and the more verbal and vocal they get, and the clearer that they get on their own destiny, the clearer that they get about the, I guess, the makeup of their own destiny. And that to me is the first principle of parenting well, and that being remembering that your children have their own unique destiny. They come through you, and they are a part of you. Please don't mess with her. And you are a part of them, and your destinies are intertwined. Yet your destinies are separate. And what you want to mold and what you want to create with your parenting is individuals who are not afraid to embrace and to move forward and fulfill their destiny. That should be what's foremost in your mind, no matter what you're dealing with and no matter what age you're dealing with. That being said, adolescence is a very difficult time in this society, because most of us did not experience very loving and very supportive childhoods. We did not experience the childhoods that our bodies and our minds expected when our mothers and fathers conceived us. Your body and your mind had a particular expectation, and most of those expectations were not fulfilled because the society that we live in today is so far removed from reality. So a lot of us, myself included, were not breastfed. A lot of us did not get to sleep with our mothers and did not get to be close to our mothers. A lot of our mothers had to return to work or return to some form of life that detached them from us before we were ready for that to occur. And because of that, our childhoods were very difficult. And we remember them as a time of strife. So as we began to move into adulthood, we moved into it carrying that same strife. And so we we see adolescence and we experienced adolescence as a time of strife. Are you really doing that? Is that what you are doing in my home? I, is that what you're doing? Okay, you still haven't answered my question. I've asked it twice. No, you do not do that. I don't care. There's no reason that would make that okay. All right, thank you. Do not ever do that again in my house or anyone else's house. The boy has stood up on my couch. But anyway, so we moved into adolescence from this same perspective of strife and from this same perspective of lack and want and not really receiving what we had needed in our childhood. And so that put us in a place when we begin to move into adulthood of searching for attention, searching for affection, searching for love. And so our time of adolescence was the beginning of that time. Most of us have continued this search on into adulthood because we are still looking for that affection and that attachment that we should have received from our mothers. But because of the way that society is set up and because of the fact that most of our mothers did not feel that they had access to the resources that they needed to raise us, then we didn't receive that proper affection and we were not properly attached to our mothers in our childhood. So we continue to look for love and look for attachment and look for the type of affection that we needed when we were infants and when we were toddlers and when we were small children. So this is the strife that we experienced in adolescence. And this is the strife that we continue to experience a great deal in young adulthood and to a lesser degree as we move into middle adulthood and more elder adulthood. We kind of are still going through that and trying to find that love and that affection that we didn't receive from our mothers. So we experienced a lot of relationship upheaval with relationships of the opposite sex. We experienced a lot of heartbreak and a lot of pain. If we were in school, if we had the misfortune to be in school, then we experienced a lot of ridicule, a lot of name calling, and we were made to feel even less of what we are. You know, this was what we remember adolescence being. And so I think that the large portion of what makes it so difficult to parent an adolescent is that you do not want that child to go through all of those hardships that you went through. So as you watch your child begin to blossom into adulthood, then your fears take over your perspective. You're not looking at the situation clearly. You're looking at the situation from a perspective of fear. If you became pregnant at a young age and you have a daughter or a son, then you're thinking, oh God, I don't want them to experience that. If you married at a young age and you have a daughter or a son, you're thinking, oh no, I don't want them to experience that. If you were, okay, go throw it away. If you were ridiculed in high school because you were too fat or because you were too skinny or because you had acne or because your hair was short or because your parents were too strict, whatever reason, if you were ridiculed, then you're thinking for your own children, I don't want them to experience that. So that's what's clouding your perspective. That's what's clouding your judgment. So what you have to do, first and foremost, is to let go of that fear. Let go of that fear. Remember that you are and you have been working very hard to give them the love that they need, to give them the attention, have a seat please, and the affection that they need, so that when they move out into the world, when they move out into the larger community, because your home is your first community. Okay, you guys can go to your room because you're not being respectful. So go ahead and go to your room right now. I'm not asking. Thank you. Take your book, pick your book up. Don't walk on the book. Thank you very much. So when they move out into that larger community, they would not experience those same types of feelings. So first of all, trust yourself. Trust what you've given them. Trust the kind of love that you have been giving them since they got here. And understand that with that kind of love comes different results. That's the first thing. The second thing is trust the universe. You're still here. You are well. You are wonderful. You are a powerful, wonderful, beautiful, divine being. Even through all of those obstacles, you're still here. You're still standing. You're still shining. You're still loving. You're still giving. So none of those obstacles destroyed you. The Odu, Oshe, which is a holy scripture from the Yoruba people, says spoilers are not as rare as improvers, and improvers are not as numerous as spoilers. But those who sought to spoil me actually improved me. So no obstacle that you've been through has spoiled you. It has only improved you. It has only made you better. So you can let go of that fear. And you can let go of the fear of those obstacles and whether or not your own children, as they grow into adulthood, will.
Nubia hit her on plant down, and I'm from the mag to it.
Okay, I'll get it. Leave it alone. I'll get it. Whether or not they have to go, okay, it's fine. Whether or not they have to go through those obstacles, you can let go of that fear because those obstacles will only make them stronger. They have to fulfill their destiny. One of the things that I say all the time is you can't fight with destiny. You have to live it. You have to experience it. You have to go through it. You cannot fight with it. You have to embrace it. In one way or another, you will embrace it. So your children have to fulfill their destiny. You have to let go of the fear of them going through obstacles in order to do this. Let go of that fear. They will be okay. What's going on? Okay, Nubia and Kamari, come here. Right now. Sit down, please. Nubia, I don't want you to pick it up. Okay, I will pick it up. Do not pick it up. I'm afraid that you're going to make more of a mess. Okay? All right, do not pick it up.
My iron is out.
Okay. When I finish this, okay?
Okay.
No, I will give you another. Don't bother his. So you have to let go of the fear of them fulfilling their destiny, and of the fear of them going through the obstacles that are necessary to give them the qualities that they need to fulfill the destiny. Totally and completely. And that's what the obstacles are for. They mold you into the being that you need to be in order to fulfill the destiny that you chose. That's what an obstacle is for. So as a parent of an adolescent, let go of that fear. As you see your child grow into adulthood, let go of that fear. Embrace them. They're blossoming fully into the next level of the person that they came here to become. Enjoy it with them. Remind them or remind yourself of what the experience was like for you and the joys of the experience, and share that with them. Oh, when I was your age, I remember feeling like this, and oh, that was so funny, and oh, we used to do this, and that was so much fun, and these are some of the songs that we used to listen to, and some of the dances that we used to do. These are some of the clothes that we used to wear. Share that time with them. Oh, I was so in love with this boy when I was in the 10th grade, and now when I look at him on Facebook, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was so in love with him. Or I still think he's just as fine as I did when I was in the 10th grade. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Watch your daughters, watch your sons blossom into this beautiful being of light. It's what they came here to do. There's no need to shrink away from it. Enjoy it. Okay, so that is kind of on that physical side, kind of on that relationship side, kind of on that maturing from the side of the different things that happen when we mature and go through puberty. Then there's that other level that we all experience, and that is the child that becomes more vocal. Please don't do that, Nubia, please, and becomes more verbal, and the child becomes more adept at letting you know exactly what it is that they want and exactly what it is that they need. And it sounds beautiful when I'm putting it in these terms, but we all know that as mothers especially, it can be annoying to have to listen to a teenager give you the rundown of exactly what they want to do and exactly what it is that they're trying to achieve when it may or may not mesh with what your goal is for them. And my strategy for this is to say yes as often as is possible, because there are going to be times when I have to say no. And so if I only say no at those times when it's absolutely necessary, then it's understood that I'm not doing it for any sort of malicious reason. I'm only doing it because it's absolutely necessary. So say yes as often as you possibly can to them, to those things that they want to do. Examine the things that they want to do, of course. Research them. Find out whether or not this is something that's in their best interest. But if at all possible, say yes. If at all possible, say yes as often as you can. There is no need, and there is no such thing as a power struggle between an adult and a child. Even if the child is an adolescent, there's no such thing as a power struggle between you and them. It cannot occur. You are God in that person's world. Nubia, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you keep doing this. I'm going to make you go and get in my bed. Okay, then you should stop. You should sit back and you should do what you know it is that you're supposed to be doing. And you should stop acting ugly. Okay? Nubia, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
If you keep doing that, you're going to get in the bed. Leave the cat alone. She's resting. Please scoot back from her spot where she's resting and stop. The next time I have to look at you, you will be going to bed. Do what you're supposed to be doing. There's no such thing as a power struggle between a child and an adult. As I was just saying this morning on my Blog Talk Radio show, you have all of the power. What did I just say? Have a seat. You have all of the power. You are God in your child's world, and that's just the truth of the matter. I'm just speaking of fact. This is fact. You are the one that decides and determines what they're going to eat, when they're going to eat, how much food they're going to eat, you know, what they're going to wear, when they're going to put it on, where they're going, when they're going. You provide all of their shelter, you provide all of their clothing, and you provide their socialization. That is the truth of being a mother, especially. And I'm sure being a father as well, I can't speak on it because I have not been one in this particular lifetime. So that's the truth of that. So that you cannot be in a power struggle with your teenager. What, they don't have any power. And once you realize that, then you cease to engage them as though that is possible. Once you engage a teenager as though there's a possibility that they have some sort of power in the situation, then they're going to take that and attempt to treat the situation as if they can be. I give it to her if she wants it, Kamari. That's not nice. Give it to her if she wants it. They will treat the situation as though it is one in which they have power. And that's not what you want, because then you're going to have conflict. Disagreement is normal. I don't feel that conflict is normal or natural or necessary. So you don't want that. You don't want to get into a situation in which you're dealing with conflict. So that's what you're avoiding. So there's no point in getting into a power struggle. If something is already set in stone, if there are particular things that you don't do, we don't eat meat in my house. That's already set in stone. So that's not a discussion. We don't chemically process our hair. That's already set in stone. So that's not a discussion. We can talk about why it's something that you would like to discuss with me. But outside of that, whether or not you can do it is not a discussion. So there's no point in me. I'm not going to have a power struggle about that because it's just not a discussion. It is a non-point in our household. You can't wear, your pants a particular way. If you're not 18, then I don't want to see cleavage. If you're not 18, I don't want to see you. You can't be putting your body on view for the world if you are under the age of 18. It's not a discussion. That's not it. There's no point in us discussing it. We're not going to talk about it because I'm not going to allow it. But we can discuss why you would like to discuss it. We can discuss that. So for particular things, I'm not going to engage you because I'm not going to go there. And I'll explain to you again as my child why I don't do that, but that's the extent of that. Nubia and Kamari, please be quiet. That's the extent of that. So make sure that you are standing in your power and that you're being realistic about the amount of power that you have in the situation. And when you're realistic about the amount of power you have in the situation, you are less likely to be trying to be controlling. Because I don't have any desire to control anybody else. I don't want to control anybody else. From my youngest child up to my oldest, I do not want to control you. I want to see you grow into the best person that you're able to be. And so I give you pointers and guidance on how to do that. The rest of it is your decision. I have no desire to control you. But when you are living in my house, there are certain things that we do and don't do because of the vibration that I like to maintain in my home. And so those things are not up for debate. I've tried it both ways and I know what's best. So those things are definitely already in place, and that is just how those things are going to go. So don't engage in power struggle because there is no power struggle. You have all of the power and the child is aware of that. Allow them to have as much freedom as they possibly can. Allow them to make as many decisions about their lives as it is safe for them to make because it is their destiny. Trust that this being that you brought to the earth knows what's best for their own destiny. Trust that. Trust that you've given them enough goodness and enough love to make good decisions. Trust that. Trust that the universe, don't stand on the couch, will take care of them just as she has always taken care of you. Trust that. Because that's reality. And that's what's going to happen. Just as you've always been taken care of, your children will always be taken care of. So don't worry. Don't let it faze you. Embrace it. Love it. Love the blossoming. When it gets into the space and place where someone is talking back or someone is being disrespectful, remind them of who you are. I sometimes simply say, is that really the tone that you want to take with your mother? And that sometimes is all that is needed to bring the person back to reality. Nubia, go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed, please. Thank you. Okay, then what do you need to do? Come and sit down and finish chewing your apple. Right there. Right there. Have a seat and finish chewing your apple. Chew it and swallow it. And then you can go do some yoga with Kamari. But I will simply say, I'll simply bring the person back to reality. Because a lot of times when you're speaking passionately about something, you get outside of yourself. So, if a child of mine is speaking passionately to me about something, then I'll remind them if the tone becomes disrespectful. Is that how you want to speak to your mother? That's how you think you should sound? Or I'll say, I never speak to you that way. Why are you speaking to me that way? Why do you think that that's necessary? And I'll say, the reason that I've never spoken to you in that tone is because when people speak to me like that, it hurts my feelings. So I don't think that you want to be hurting my feelings at this time. So would you please stop speaking in that tone and use the same tone that I'm using with you? Just make it plain. There's no need to place a judgment on it. There's no need to create conflict where there isn't any conflict. If two people are just passionately speaking about something, then that's what's going on. But they can also keep it respectful. That can be done. And show your child by example how that is done. and why that is necessary. Okay, now you still not doing what I asked you to do. You said you didn't want to go to bed, but you're not being nice. What are you supposed to be doing right now? Finishing the apple, and then you can do yoga. Do not try to do yoga until you finish chewing the apple. All right. So remind the person of who you are, what your place is in their life, and the kind of tone that you respect, that you expect because of that. Remind them of that. Sometimes that's necessary. So that is how I feel and how I handle that in my home. You're not the teacher. You're not the teacher. She can do it as well. And please play quietly. That is how I handle the process of moving into adolescence in my home. And that is the mindset that I move through that portion of parenting with. And there are times, okay, Nubia and Kamari, what am I doing? Okay, so if you're not going to whisper, you will have to take it into your room, okay? If you're going to be in here with me, then how are you going to have to speak? Quietly, okay? So what did I just say? Thank you. So that's how I use that. That's how I move through that particular phase. And, with prayer, with, fasting when it's necessary, with salt baths when it's necessary, with meditation when it's necessary, with breaks from one another when that is necessary. I use all of those as well. And remember that even at this stage, your child is not trying to manipulate you. Your child is still concerned with making you happy. Your child is still concerned with receiving your acceptance. Your child is still concerned with seeing you smile, making mommy smile. And for me as an adolescent, I was even more, seeking my mother's acceptance than I had been as a small child. So I always assume that is the case for my children that are going through that phase as well, that they want my acceptance and my love even more. So remember that. Remember what it was like for you. All right. I hope and pray that the distractions have not been too great in this particular video. It is nearing nap time here at the O'Shea Tour Institute, and people. What am I doing? What am I doing right now? Okay, so what does Nubia need to do? Okay. So it's nearing nap time, so that causes people's behavior to do things that is, a little bit more intense than usual. So I don't necessarily apologize for it. I just hope that you were still able to get the gist of what I was saying throughout my interactions with my children, because I think that it's necessary as women of power and as mothers to mother and to allow people to see us mothering. I don't think that mothering should be swept under the rug or taking place in some back room somewhere. I think that mothering, since it's such a big part of what I do, it should always be a part of everything that I'm doing. And so I'm not apologizing, but I'm hoping that you were still able to get the gist of what I'm saying. So give thanks to Living Organically for bringing this topic up. Please comment, please share. If you have a question, please ask me via comment. I can be reached on my website, www.osheturainstitute.com, OSHETURA institute.com. If you need me for parenting consultation, for homeschooling or unschooling consultation from an African perspective, for traditional Yoruba spiritual consultation through the Orisha Oshun, or for holistic health consultation, if you need from the Sacred Woman perspective. So if you need me for any of those things, please contact me via my website. Look forward to hearing from all of you. Thank you for all of the wonderful comments and upliftment that I've received so far. Peace and love and light, ecstasy, abundance, and bliss to all of you. And then I'm going to go on to the second video. And then we have got to run out and run some errands. So thanks a lot. Peace.
Good.